Come now, you rich, weep and howl for your miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver are corroded, and their corrosion will be a witness against you, and will eat your flesh like fire. You have heaped up treasure in the last days. Indeed, the wages of the laborers who mowed your fields, which you kept back by fraud, cry out, and the cries of the reapers have reached the ears of the Lord of Sabbath. You have lived on the earth in pleasure and luxury. You have fattened your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned, you have murdered the just. He does not resist you. Now here's a guy that didn't have any earthly power, but he spoke to the powers of his day. And he was a powerless prophet. And James, and through that, he really upset the value system in his day. And even now, we live with a value system that says, oppression is wrong. What would James' diatribe look like today? Well, it might look something like this. Come now, you rich CEOs, that you give yourself a salary that you make more in one day than one of your workers does an entire year. It might look something like that. Woe to you mullahs in Iran that use religion to oppress people. We can be a voice to the powerful, but I believe that we do a better job of that when we come from a position of rejecting earthly power. I believe we can be in a better position to speak to the power structures when we do that. We have all kinds of issues that we as Christians, we believe that we sort of consider as our causes. Abortion, gay marriage, things like that. There are other issues out there that I think that Christians that we should be addressing. Listen, one of the greatest moral issues in the world today? We have basically a third of the world's nations. We have the rich nations basically living off of 2/3 of the other world. And we have the trade rules and the structures are really benefit the powerful. We can be a voice to the power structures. If you look at your Bible and really study the prophets, you'll find that the poverty-related issues were the issues that they care about the most. When it comes, morally speaking, when it comes to the earthly powers, most of it was all related to poverty. Woe to you who write unrighteous decrees to rob the needy of justice. Look at that. There are issues that Democrats might be good on some of those issues. Maybe Republicans aren't so good, or vice versa. And I'm not either way. I'm simply saying that if we so absolutize a party or a system or a political philosophy so much to the point that we isolate other people, I do think we get blinded to the other issues. And I think that we invite ourselves to some real criticism from the outside world. You say you're pro-life, but you are the biggest supporters of the establishment. I mean, you want to go back to the Reagan years, a lot, and this is what some would say, where we did terrible things in Latin America. Installed dictators that did torture their people. And so if you say you're pro-life, I mean, are you looking at that too? And so I'm simply saying, if we reject the absolutizing of political systems, of political parties, of separating the world between us and versus them, and we can really reject earthly power and the value of pursuing that to achieve moral ends. If we can reject those things, I believe that we can see clearer, and then we can look at all kinds of moral issues, and then we can be a voice. We can be a voice to the powers of this world. But we can't be a voice to the powers if we're enamored with the powers. And I believe that's the point that I want to say. There's all kinds of ways to live out what I'm talking about. I understand that I present some issues that may be difficult to grasp with. I think we all need to have grace with each other on how we figure this out.